back to another episode of Style Sessions, a podcast dedicated to help you cultivate your own personal individual style. My name is Aaron Selver. That is Jeremy Reed. What's going on, man?
Hey, not much, man. Happy to be here this morning. Another great day here. Excited. Love the look.
Oh, thank you.
Got a fun look going on today. I love it. I do apologize for everybody that's watching us on YouTube.
Dude, you were up late as shit last night.
I was. So we had a late night. We had a shipment that came in yesterday, but it's really time sensitive for a lot of our kids for homecoming and stuff like that. And so, I wanted to stay late, get it unpacked, get it ready so we could process and get it into the system.
Absolutely.
So I just didn't have the energy this morning to put time into like a elaborate outfit. And I had a few ideas. I was going, I could do this, I could do that. I got up this morning and I was like, nah. I'm tired. And it's all supposed to be like 85 degrees today.
I know.
And I was just like, I'm just wearing shorts and
that's all right. It's all good. It looks good though. I like it.
I mean, it's relaxed, it's comfortable, it's fun.
Sure.
Just doesn't have the jacket like I normally would or
It's all
something
right.
like that. So, today's my relaxed day.
Sure. I was feeling jazzy this morning,
Yeah.
so I was just
really like it, and this is something that a lot of you that listen to this probably know we're doing the Sartorial Survival Guide, which is 30 easy ways to upgrade your style in 30 days. And just yesterday's episode that I had watched was talking about mixing prints and mixing patterns and different things. And no better example than yourself today, which we'll jump into it later, I'm sure, as we get to it. But I saw it and I loved it. I was like, it's just such a good, tasteful way to do it. It kind of hits all four of our rules that we set forth on mixing prints and patterns.
if you guys haven't watched that, we'll link that down in the description. You should definitely go check that out. There's a whole playlist there. We're doing 30 videos for the month of September, and it's just a kind of a cool primer on like, different ways you can upgrade and everything like that. So
and I really do think it's useful. I've had some good feedback already from some guys. I've had people that I haven't talked to in 20 years reach out to me like, hey, I just heard your podcast, or I just saw your video, and yada yada yada. And that's awesome, you know what I mean? Because that's what we're doing. We're trying to help people, and so for me, it's exciting to hear that feedback. I know it's one of those things. It's hard for people to do sometimes, and it's hard to create content. But we have so much knowledge from this, and some of the questions we get asked on a daily basis that we can just give you the answer, and hopefully help you build some cool outfits.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm trying to incorporate a lot more B-roll and stuff like that to kind of, get those juices flowing for some of those guys so they can get some ideas of different looks and outfits and stuff like that. So
there's been some great stuff there, some great footage. So as Aaron said, if you haven't seen it, click that playlist. Much shorter videos. Yeah. I know we chat, we talk.
I think today's was like 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Which
the one that came on up today.
It's easy. That's quick. It's digestible. And you can watch that video, then you can start employing those ideas and helping. So take the few minutes, click the link, watch it. You'll enjoy it.
It's worth it.
So awesome.
So today,
last
week we did an episode. We recorded an episode last week about dress shirts and shirts in general.
Sure.
This week's episode, we're talking specifically more so about dress shirts and the weaves, because we threw some things around. We said a few things. Yep. Some people are going to be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to touch and like kind of hone in on a few specific key phrases or keywords that are specific to dress shirts.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, last week and we say last week, and as I said, if you watch these out episode, whatever, just look for the one talking about the difference between dress shirts, sports shirts, Henleys, so on and so forth. Right. So we kind of go over the different classes of what makes each shirt, right? Like each category. The lines have gotten so muddled in recent years of shirts and stuff. But we were saying some terms in there that we run into. People ask, they're like, well, what's that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What's this?
Yeah.
What's that? I saw this, I saw that. And most of those terms are in the dress shirt. I mean, because sports shirts and all that stuff, they're just not there. It's just not as
I think that like with sport shirts though, it's kind of like there are some fabrics that kind of transition over.
Yep.
We'll get into that too.
But yeah, so
But yeah.
some very specific terminology and stuff, and we're going to try to make it a little easier, a little simpler to understand.
Yeah.
So when you hear these keywords, you go, "Oh, they're talking about this."
Right.
So I think that's kind of what we should start with. Probably is I know, a common statement is pinpoint.
Yeah, pinpoint dress shirt.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, I know when I first started, I remember seeing pinpoint, and I'm just like, oh, they're talking about a point collar dress shirt.
Right.
But it's not. That's the weave
Yep.
of the shirt itself. And when you think of like a traditional white dress shirt, that's a pinpoint dress shirt. That's
Right.
the weave that there is.
So they're talking about like how the fabric's made, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not, as I said, hey, we're not textile professionals or anything like that, right? Like, so I don't exactly know how they do it,
Yeah.
but it's the process of
Yeah.
how they do it. And obviously I'm speculating there's some sort of pin that does the weaving.
Well, if you get real close and you look at the texture of a pinpoint dress shirt, it looks like there's a pinpoint.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. Makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
Makes sense.
I think another common one that in the pinpoint dress shirt, the weave of that, I think transitions into like most sport shirts you're going to
I would
find.
say most sports
They're going
right?
to be a pinpoint weave. Yeah. I think another one that kind of transitions into that would be like an Oxford cloth.
Okay.
So like an Oxford cloth was really made super famous and popular in the 30s and 40s by Brooks Brothers, who were really famous back then for doing a lot of like really preppy clothing because the guys in Oxford and England and stuff like that liked wearing, everybody would go and get dressed up to go to class, which is so weird. And it would be, something similar to what I'm wearing, a navy blazer and tan pants and an Oxford cloth shirt and a rep stripe tie.
Could you imagine that in this era?
Oh my God, it'd be so weird. I'd love it though.
Hey, here's
I'd be all
reality.
about it,
I
man.
love dressing.
Hell yeah.
I love dressing up as much as the next guy, and I really do enjoy it. But I remember back. It's been 20 years, but I remember back to my college days.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times those folks were happy that I wore clothes. Period.
Yeah.
I was wearing pajamas.
I know.
I was getting out of bed and I was going to class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, getting dressed up like that's just.
But yeah, that was like when you were going to like a prestigious like Stanford or somewhere like that, you were required to wear a navy blazer, a white Oxford cloth dress shirt, button down collar, tan or khaki pants, penny loafers, and then a regimental tie that went with the school's colors.
Yeah, which makes sense. That you see those pictures all the time, and you still see it. So my question is on the Oxford shirts, is there a way when you look at that weave that it's distinguishable compared to the other ones?
Yeah, so like an Oxford cloth, a traditional Oxford cloth is going to be more. Now, in the video and stuff, if you're listening to the podcast, I'll try my best to explain it, but. In the video side, I'll actually take some B-roll of we have a traditional Oxford cloth shirt that's available through Stant.
Perfect.
And it's a heavier weave.
Yep.
It's thicker, and it's got a bit of a coarser texture to it. So like a regular pinpoint dress shirt, it's going to be a little bit more smooth, and it's going to be a little bit more soft to the touch, whereas a true Oxford cloth is going to be thicker, heavier to the touch, a little bit coarser, and they're usually going to have a soft collar.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be most likely a button-down collar.
Yeah.
Traditionally. So, but yeah, like I really like an Oxford cloth dress shirt. It's just kind of a cool vibe. You don't see that very often. I think another one that I really like as far as in a dress shirt is it's called a broadcloth or end on end. And basically, like it's really predominant in if you get like a blue dress shirt.
Sure, yeah, of course, I love blue dress shirts.
Like
one of my favorites.
if you get a blue dress shirt that's an end on end or a broadcloth or something like that, there's going to be you can see the yarns that go through it because it's a variation of blues and whites.
Yep.
So it's one of those dress shirts where it's got kind of like it looks like a cool texture, but it's still really soft and smooth, like a pinpoint.
Sure.
But you can see the yarns and strands that go through it. It's really cool.
We'll have to dig into it later today, but I actually think one of the shirts we got last night, it resembles that. I'll be curious to see if it is a broadcloth.
We'll look at it. Yeah,
it's a very special one that we ordered. But yeah, so that's that's so a lot of these things. Dress shirts are sometimes just kind of signified by their weave is really a thing when you're looking at dress shirts. And you mentioned Stant, that we have the custom dress shirts and we do all that stuff there. So there's a common card of different colors of fabric in there. Obviously, there's just a dyeing process or something of that nature. Poplin.
Yes.
You see that a lot.
Yep.
So let's talk about poplin a little bit.
Yeah. Traditionally, poplin is, again, it's kind of like that. It's almost like a pinpoint, but the weave is a little bit tighter and a little bit smoother, so there's less texture going on. The other thing with poplin is they are traditionally like 100% cotton, not usually wrinkle-free dress shirts.
Correct.
I think they have a wrinkle-free version of it.
Yeah, but I would venture to guess, and as I said, this is kind of what we're talking about. So I mean, let's talk about the process a little bit. So there's a couple different ways to get wrinkle-free items.
Yep.
Some of it is kind of on the base level where the fabric itself has some wrinkle-free properties.
Right.
If that's a blend or if that's something of that nature where they're putting something in there, synthetic, or even sometimes it's not synthetic. Sometimes it's natural fibers.
Right.
But they're fibers that lay a certain way and they just don't wrinkle.
Right.
Another process, and I'd say a lot of times probably on poplin fabric and things of that nature, if it is wrinkle-free, it's probably a chemical bath.
Yeah.
Post-production.
Yeah. In the early, well, I say early, but mid-2000s,
sure.
When I started at Joseph A. Bank, that's when wrinkle-free, non-iron, they call them, they're non-iron wrinkle-free dress shirts. Those started to become really popular. And before then it was, man, you had good luck spending hours ironing your dress shirt. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, it was rough.
Yeah, and that was back when we talked about this the other day, and maybe it'll be a good thing we'll do about how to properly press a shirt and stuff like that. But you used to have to starch them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? To get the fabric to stay where you need it to stay. These blends and these newer fabrics and stuff, I mean, they've kind of done away with it.
I don't. Yeah, I used to, every shirt I had, I would starch.
But now you don't have to.
Don't have to.
As I said, so there's two different processes.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I don't know that there's any scientific data to back this up.
Okay.
I prefer the wrinkle-free or the iron-free or whatever term that company's using.
Yeah.
Of the ones that are kind of done on the fabric side and not post-production on the shirt side.
Yeah.
Simply because I think you get more longevity out of it.
I agree.
I think it lasts longer, and I also like the hand a little bit better on it because it's each individual fiber that's doing it, where when you do it post-production and post-weave, I mean, we've had it where sometimes you feel the shirt and
it feels real plasticky almost.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It feels plasticky.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel comfortable.
I was gonna say, like, Joseph A. Bank, like in the mid 2000s range when I first started there, they started Travelers is what their line was called. It was called the Travelers shirt, and that was their first instance of non-iron, wrinkle-free, whatever the hell you want to call it. And it was a post process.
Yep.
That they used, and they classified it as nanotechnology, and I'm like, all right, calm down, Iron Man. It's ridiculous. But I mean, they were pretty decent shirts. I know that they aren't necessarily the best quality as they used to be now. Like, that's what I'm to understand. But it's kind of that same thing, where they felt kind of weird, like to wear, unless you were used to them.
And as I said, I think a lot of people ran across that feeling. Yeah. I mean, as I said, hey, we sometimes we have shirts and vendors do that stuff. Yeah. As I said, they have their place. They have their place in the sun, so to speak. Yeah. They're not bad shirts. They just have a different feel. And me personally, I prefer the other ones. They have a little more natural feel to them.
Yeah, I agree.
So in a little bit of a review, we've got pinpoint weave, we've got an Oxford weave, a broadcloth, poplin.
Another one that's really popular now is twill.
Okay.
A twill dress shirt. And if you guys don't know what twill is, it's a way in which they weave the fabric, but it's got a bit of a texture to it. You can have like a wide twill. You can have a really fine twill. But basically, you'll feel like a diagonal texture going across the fabric. Basically, it goes diagonally across, and it's kind of cool. It's nice. And again, every single one of these different weaves and dress shirts and stuff like that has a different way in which I would suggest wearing it. I wouldn't wear like a Royal Oxford cloth shirt with a 3-piece suit.
No, I don't
Seems
think that's
weird.
It's not the look, right? That's not the look. They all have their very specific look. So yeah, I agree with that. Twill, and speaking of staying on Twill, traditionally it was 100% cotton.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yep.
Again, everything is changing a little bit. You're starting to see that percentage go a little bit down.
Yeah.
Whether adding, as I said, a synthetic or some other natural fabric, if it's a bamboo, merino wool, something of that nature that has some properties that people are really looking for these days, like the tech properties.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you've listened to any of our other episodes, we talk about twill pants. A lot of times they use that same weave in a pan.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say those are a lot of our common weaves, right?
Yeah.
What are some other things that you've been hearing out there that, aside from just the weave, terminology, I guess, that stumbles that get people caught up on a dress shirt?
I would say I'd like to talk about because we just did this video about mixing patterns. Okay. So since we're on the topic of dress shirts, we'll talk about patterns and stuff like that. I think one of the ones that people are confused by or don't know very much is Tattersall.
Oh yeah, a Tattersall shirt is gorgeous.
Beautiful. I'm wearing a Tattersall. It's white with a navy blue and red Tattersall going through it.
Yeah.
And basically a Tattersall is it's a version of a check dress shirt. And what I mean by check is it looks kind of like you think about like a checkerboard, basically, right? That's
exactly.
kind of where it comes from,
that's
right?
Precisely what it looks like.
Right. A Tattersall, though, there's usually a base color.
Yep.
And then there are 2 different stripes intersecting going through it, essentially.
And those stripes can be different size, scale as well.
Right.
They will be equal to each other in the weave, like they'll both be the same. But and on a shirt, you have a very fine Tattersall. We've had one in the past that was a pretty broad Tattersall.
Right.
I think that's a really good thing that you touched upon there is just talking about, and I apologize if I'm making a lot of noise and movement, guys. I am just so sore from packing all that stuff last night. So I'm just trying to find a place to be comfortable in this chair today. So for me, it's one of those things that that sometimes, and I'll say, hey, I'm a victim to this, that would stumble up a guy on dress shirts. You would hear, so you said Tattersall. One of my favorites is a Wales check.
Yeah.
We say Wales check. We say Gingham.
Yeah.
Gingham.
Yeah.
So there's these. You hear these phrases and you're like,
I don't know what that means.
Is that what is that?
Yeah.
And so, and more times than not, it's the pattern, it's the print of the shirt.
Right.
Now, I don't know if there's an easy way to tell, like when you're looking at a description of a shirt, like is it the weave or is it the pattern? It's kind of both, but
yeah.
As I said, there's Bengal stripe. I'm just trying to think of some that are like really popular, really common. And when you see that, guys, it's usually talking directly about the look of the shirt.
Yeah. Yep. I think and this is not necessarily 100% like, don't pin me down on this, but like typically when you have like a patterned dress shirt, it's usually going to be like a pinpoint. Sometimes you'll have some that are like a twill or something like that, like a stripe that's got a twill in it or something like that. But like usually more often than not, it's either a poplin or it's going to be a pinpoint.
And I would say, I would even go one step further than just the pattern. I would say the majority of shirts you're running across out there, when you're looking at the dress shirts, aside from the white Oxford, the majority of them are probably going to be a pinpoint or a poplin.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the only options, but I'm speculating that it has something to do with the way the shirt feels.
Yeah.
and probably production, right?
Probably production, yeah.
You know, some of it's we like things the way they feel, but that's because that's the only, that's the only option. So I mean, that's going to be a really common thing. Here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Because this will happen sometimes, definitely in Stant. So everybody that's not familiar with our Stant clothing program, we do custom fit shirts, custom fit jackets, custom fit trousers. We can do the whole outfit. Is very easy, just like 5 different sizes we need from a guy, and then we get to try that stuff on. But when we get to the fabric aspect, and we're picking out shirts specifically, someone says, "Hey, I want a white dress shirt." And I said, "Hey, great, no problem. I have 25 white shirts for you to choose from."
Oh my gosh.
Okay, which is great, and that's good, right? I mean, that's great. Now, so we talked about the weave that can make a white shirt different than the next white shirt,
right?
Here's something else that I notice a lot with shirts, and I'm curious if we have any guidelines on this. It's the weight of the shirt. It'd be the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
T-shirts are done a lot of times, and this is an X gram shirt or whatever, and it's literally talking about the physical weight of the shirt.
Yeah.
The reason why the weight might matter to you, definitely in a white shirt, in my opinion, it's going to be its
opacity.
Oh, yeah, opacity. Yeah. How opaque it is or not opaque.
Right.
So that's, can people see through it or not see through it, a good example, and today's a good example. You can see I have a full arm sleeves tattoo. If I wear a lightweight white shirt,
if you're wearing a broadcloth, you're going to be able to see.
You can see my arm.
Yeah.
Now there's some situations, it's a little different this day and age than it used to be, but there's some situations where you had to have that covered where people couldn't tell you had it, right? And there's some old school look there. So do you have any insight for the weight, and if there's a certain weave that tends to be heavier, or is there a way that we can scale the weights on those, or can it be any of them?
Yeah, I would say heaviest is usually going to be like an Oxford, like a Royal Oxford cloth or whatever. That's going to be usually the heaviest. I would say from there down, it would probably go twill.
Yep.
Basket weave's going to be in there. Like, we didn't really touch on basket weave, but it's more of a textural thing. It's not a lot of people
think of one of those wicker baskets.
Yeah.
Think of a wicker basket. That's what
it's got like a raised square thing on it. A lot of people don't buy those. It's fine.
Yeah, very small.
It'd be like Royal Oxford, like a twill, pinpoint, and then like a broadcloth end on end dress shirt is usually going to be like your finer,
the lightest of the light.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I was specifically talking about white shirts and how you can see through them and things like that. And so that kind of gives you a scale there. Now, also, sometimes the heavier the cloth, the more, not always, but it can be harder to keep wrinkle free.
Yeah, definitely.
In my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Not always. I mean, it's kind of, it's if but where I was really wanting to go with this is body temperature.
Oh, yeah.
The heavier the shirt,
man, I'm telling you what, you wear a Royal Oxford cloth dress shirt in the middle of summer. I've done it. It is rough.
Man, I'll tell you. So we have talked about some crazy stuff, some fun stories and everything. So I'm going to share another one. I remember, 25, 30 years ago, I was going to like a junior high school dance, right?
Okay.
So we're going to a junior high school dance. Like, this was a thing, right? Like, you went, you're like, oh, I asked this girl, I'm really excited to go, yada, yada, yada. And you're going. And so back then, everybody wore khakis.
Of course.
A chino khaki.
Yep.
And, we talked about this the other day. Just basic white or basic British khaki color pants, right? But then the shirt situation, I'm like, well, what do you, I need a dress shirt.
Yeah, what do you wear?
So I was very novice and no idea. And so were my parents. My parents it wasn't their forte, right?
Right.
So we go, we get and this is like I can't remember if this might have been the early fall dance of our school. So it's so hot. It's so hot.
Still hot, yeah.
So, however, I did like style. I just didn't understand the difference between clothing.
Sure.
I ended up with a Royal Oxford white shirt, a tie, and then like a sweater or like a cardigan almost over it, right?
Oh, no.
To kind of like make it look cool because, I was cool. I was cool.
Yeah.
I will tell you. I mean, it was a soft. I mean, the cloth, it was soft, really soft, and it felt nice. I bet I could have drained a gallon of water out of that thing at the end of the night. I mean, I was a teenage, I mean, you got to imagine, your body's changing anyway.
Hormones are going. You're all, it's 100 degrees out. You're like, woo.
You're at this school dance with this girl that you're trying to, talk at, you know what I mean? You got all this going on. Then you got this heavy-ass shirt on.
Yeah.
You had no idea what you're into.
And you got a sweater on. And you're dancing and shit. Oh, my gosh. I can't imagine.
Collar all tightened up. Oh, my gosh. As I said, I should have just jumped in a swimming pool. You know what I mean?
Oh, my gosh.
So, obviously, things have changed, over the time. What I would not recommend is a heavy shirt on a hot summer day. It's brutal, guys.
It's rough, man.
We've gotten really spoiled with these tech fabrics out there. Are there any tech fabrics that make their way into the dress shirt world aside from the aforementioned earlier chemical treated stuff that you've noticed out there that you're like, hey, this is making a splash or anything like that?
Yeah, the bamboo. I mean, I would classify that as
that's techy. It's natural.
It's a natural, but it's tech. Like the bamboo shirts are becoming real popular. Okay. I can't remember the name of it, and we'll link. I'll find it and link it down in the description. But there's this company that are making these dress shirt polos. Have you seen these?
No, I have.
So it's basically
no idea right now.
So it's basically like a polo.
Okay.
And it's like it's kind of like those shirts we have coming in that are our house brand or whatever that are it's like stretchy like you know what I'm talking
from
about?
Stant and stuff that has some line to
it.
Performance fabric.
Yeah.
They remind you of that
but this is like this. I can't remember again. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's a polo dress shirt is what they call it, and it is a pullover. Like there's a button placket that goes about to the mid chest, but it's got a dress shirt collar and full on button cuffs.
That is peculiar. No,
and I was like, what? And I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups,
right?
That guys are like, oh, my new favorite dress shirt, and I'm just like, but it's not. It looks like a polo though. And they're like, check it out, and they got a tie on with it. I'm like, what's happening right now?
So I mean, yeah,
those are super popular right now, and I'm just like, I don't know, man.
And as I said, I mean, and we're gonna continue to see innovation.
Yeah,
that's kind of what drives us. And who knows? Maybe it catches on, maybe it doesn't. I mean, if you would have said 15 years ago that you needed to have the ability to leave your shirt untucked,
oh yeah,
your dress shirt untucked,
now, I would have been like,
we as individuals may have been doing that as a rebellious style type of thing, you know what I mean? Like a punk rock look, if you will. That was a thing, right? That was a thing. But for a company to come right out and be like, hey, this is our brand, and this is our name, this is all we're doing.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Like, what?
But they did it in such a way that they have forced traditional shirts to adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The market forced the industry to change.
Yeah.
So who knows? Polo dress shirts could be the next hot item. We don't know.
I don't know. Oh my God.
I'm not ready to sign off on it yet, but I say that.
I know what you mean though, yeah.
There's sometimes that things do just catch on and you're like,
yeah.
I'll be damned.
I know.
I'll be damned.
I know.
And then we see it all the time. Sometimes it's just a repeat of a trend, but other times it's something completely new and innovative and it works. So we'll see.
Polo dress shirt.
Polo dress shirts.
You heard it here first, folks.
I guess, right? So weight of the shirts determine, as I said, some folks, I have a good client. He just prefers a heavy dress shirt. I mean, he's an old school dude.
Yeah.
He's in his 60s. That's just.
Yeah.
That's just what he grew up with.
That's all they had.
That's what he grew up with.
That's
what he's used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get your weight, your weave, your weight.
Mm-hmm.
The pattern
Yep.
can sometimes be in the title of a dress shirt.
Yep, definitely.
So I think those are some key things that we're trying to shed a little bit of light on, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a quick review from a different episode, we have some technical difficulties in front of me, but
oh, dude. Okay, let's real quick. I swear, it feels like the universe doesn't want us to make these episodes every single week.
Technology is funny. So for everybody that doesn't know, so we set up like a pseudo studio in our store, in one of our rooms in the Peoria location, and we sit in here and we do this before the store opens, and we try to get some footage for you guys and try to do this. Obviously, though, we're not
just us, man.
We're not like a film crew producing this
right.
stuff. We're doing our best. We have, what we can. So we have a few different cameras set up, and it seems to be we have had like a consistent
every
consistent malfunction.
Every single one of these cameras has either shut off,
yep,
or just stopped recording. Last week it was my iPhone, which is so weird. It's never done that. And all the time every YouTube video I've ever made has been with my iPhone.
Yeah, no, I mean, and
it's never done that. It's so weird.
They all have that thing. So we laugh. We can joke.
Good Lord.
The reality of it is so one of the cameras just shut off, and we saw it indicate.
I'm leaving it. Usually I cut this out, and I'm just leaving it in.
We're just gonna let this roll, and we're gonna have some 2-camera footage.
Have some laughs with us. I mean, good Lord.
It's what it is, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, we're really just trying to produce content to help people.
Yeah.
And please forgive us on our malfunctioning software and hardware and all of those things.
We just got to get somebody in here with us.
Yeah,
and watch all that.
We need a film crew. Anybody's looking for a sidekick, let's come in and film us.
That's right.
Build us a studio. We'll just come do it at the studio, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Just go over to the TV station and
one of these days, man. One of these days.
I don't even know where we're going before that thing shut off on me. To be honest, it kind of sidetracked me.
Which talking about like the title, basically like what the titles of what we classify dress shirts as, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Is how can you tell a dress shirt aside from these aforementioned weaves, prints, patterns, things like that?
Yeah.
The telltale sign is always the sizing of the shirt.
Yeah.
If it's got a neck and a sleeve size in there.
Yep.
Like so. For an example, 16.5 by 34-35. That is a dress shirt.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it has a pocket. Doesn't matter what kind of placket it has on it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As the list goes on,
dress shirt.
It's a dress shirt.
Unless it's a stance shirt.
Unless it's a stance
shirt. Unless it's a stance shirt. Then those are, the name of a New York City street or whatever.
Which those get confusing.
That's
a whole different game.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that. Stance shirts are awesome. Get them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
But they have a number that does translate to them. That they have a unique sizing system to where it's easier for you to remember.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
If it's an alpha size code, which is small, medium, large, extra large, whatever, then it's most likely it's a sport shirt.
Correct.
Yeah.
Shorter tail, things of that nature are all going to be components of that.
In my case, because I have very long arms for my size, I guess, shorter sleeves. It's the problem I have with sport shirts. Sleeves are always super short, so I can't.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I can't ever wear them with the sleeve down. That's why every time you see me in a sport shirt, I have my sleeves roll up because they're up here and they're super
right. They're
short.
above the wrist bone there, which
drives me crazy.
Which is annoying if you're not trying to do it.
Right.
As I said, when we have this discussion, guys, we're not trying to be snobbish, pretentious, anything. We're just trying to educate.
Yeah.
Because we have people come in all the time and they'll gravitate to a certain shirt and they'll be like, "Hey, I need this dress shirt." And if we correct, we would never do it. Like, we would just be a gentle, like, well, that's technically a sports shirt, but what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that we are clothing the individual properly for their event.
Right.
Right. If they get an invitation that says black tie, then we're going to sway them off of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so we think about it because we got some folks that have black tie events coming up that, but yeah, so that's really the anatomy of a dress shirt.
Pretty much.
We discussed it in a different episode about collar types, collar types don't really determine if it's a dress shirt, right? I
Not
mean,
really.
There's 6 or 7 collars you can have, but you can have it on any dress shirt.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
so really, it comes down to the weave and the way it's built.
Yeah.
Originally.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dress shirts in a nutshell. This is going to be a shorter episode than what we normally do, but that's okay. I mean,
That's okay. As I
we have to
said.
do an hour every single time.
Yeah. No. I mean, and you guys don't want to listen to an hour of us going on all the time.
Rambling about dress shirts, which I could do if you guys want.
Yeah,
If you
I
want me to
mean,
do a live stream talking about dress shirts, I can
Yeah.
definitely do it.
You want more dress shirts? Before we sign off for the day,
Yes.
A couple PSAs, if you will. Uno.
We did not
please-
rehearse that.
That was not
Not
rehearsed.
rehearsed.
That was just all timed out.
So
Perfect,
what we
folks.
do,
It's
man, we're just
perfectly timed.
in sync.
We are in sync.
Yeah.
Simpatico, as what's his name says in that movie. Bad teacher. Remember? He's
Bad teacher. Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, though, seriously, send us questions, send us comments, send us concerns.
Yeah, definitely.
We still have plenty of the weeks of information that we want to share with you. But if there's something that is really just out there asking, hey, I need help with this, I wish these guys would talk about it.
Yeah.
Let us know. I'm sure that we have probably had something.
I think that one died.
That's perfect. That's good. We're about done anyways. But we've probably encountered, and we probably have a solution and an answer for you.
Definitely. Definitely.
So that being said, that's awesome. I guess, I do want to kind of go over a little more in depth on your outfit.
Oh, okay.
So for everybody that can't see, and that could be any of you right now because every camera seems
Who
to be shutting
knows?
off.
We don't even know what's going on.
We don't know who's going to be able to
I don't know
this.
which camera to look at right now. We've got one still.
I can see
going.
one that's still recording.
going.
So obviously you're wearing looks like a chino dress pant of sorts.
These are the tan Jackson James
Okay.
dress pants. They're 120s, wool, gabardine.
Nice.
Love these pants.
Yeah, you've had a
But
couple
they're-
colors of those pants.
I'm almost to every color of those
Okay.
pants. I really. It's hard to find good dress pants when you're a bigger dude.
Of course.
The issue I have is I like to wear high waisted dress pants.
You like a high rise in your pants.
because it covers up my big old gut.
Got to do something, right? I mean, hey, that's going to be an episode coming up, though. I actually
Yeah.
just talked about this last time about dressing to your body style
Yeah.
and type,
Yeah.
and how to make those clothes look right. One thing that surprises me is you do not have cuffs on your pant today.
I know. That's why I don't wear these pants very often.
Oh, okay. So this was
Yeah.
before the cuffs.
Yeah, this is like the first pair of Jackson James pants I got.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to put a plain hem on them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to try and do a cuff on these other pants that I got. And I
And now
really
you
like
love
the
the cuff.
cuff. So I don't wear these very often because of that. But I
They look
mean,
nice.
it was I was putting this outfit together this morning and I'm like, I had those blue, the indigo ones that I really like.
Yeah.
And I had a different jacket on. And I'm like, I like it, but it didn't quite work with the shoes that I'm wearing today.
Yeah, which I love the shoes. I'm gonna guess, are they Allen Edmonds? Or
They're actually they are not.
Okay.
I don't remember what brand these are. I actually just got them back from the cobbler. I had them resold.
So it's really cool looking pair of wingtips.
Yeah, they're
two-tone wingtips.
yeah, they're called Spectators. That's the name of them. Basically, that's the style.
Yeah.
But they're brown and white, and I've had these for I don't even know how long I've had these.
They remind me of and a little different than the saddle style for
Yeah.
like because it's the wingtip look.
Yeah.
I would get some golf shoes. I used to have golf shoes like that.
Oh yeah.
I get my golf in there once a
No
week.
way.
Once a week, gotta get it in there. I don't
No
know what I'm
way.
gonna do I don't know what I'm gonna do in the winter, folks. But then so the shoes obviously. But it's kind of a fun look as we talked about the Oxford look because
Yep.
you got the navy blazer on, solid navy blazer.
Yep.
It looks great. Kind of a tweed looking vest. I can't.
This is a tweed vest. Yeah, I actually made this vest.
Oh really?
Like 15 years ago, I made this vest. I sewed it and everything like that.
Was it just just a random project you wanted?
Yeah,
to do?
I was just like, I want a tweed vest to wear with my
Dude.
outfits, and I was at the fabric store and I found it, and I'm like, all right, cool.
I'll be dang.
Yeah,
That's a really cool story, man. It looks
Yeah.
great. I love
thanks, man.
And so for me, like to hear that, so something I always zone in on is how well at the buttonholes, how things line up, and this lines up perfect. The pattern on either side, the little red line going through.
I had a tailor friend who was helping me with it.
Yeah,
and he's the one that taught me how to sew and stuff like that, like use the sewing machine, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and so
that's awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And it's got like a red lining on the inside and stuff like that. So
I mean, it looks really cool.
Thank you.
And you said you have a Tattersall shirt on today.
Yep.
What's that tie?
This is a navy and red rep stripe tie. It's Brooks Brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
no one's surprised by that.
No, I mean, obviously you were. Yeah, I mean, but it's a cool look, very traditional.
As we said before, in like one of our first episodes, you asked me, how do I like when I'm picking out an outfit, what's the first thing I do? First thing I do, as I said before, I pick out the shoes.
Yep.
And I was like, I really want to wear those shoes. I literally just got them back from the shoe cobbler like 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm like, God, I really want to wear those shoes. So I picked out those shoes, and then I was like, built the outfit around that. And I had one outfit picked out, and I was like, it's not quite the look I was going for. So I changed the pants and changed the jacket and put the vest on, and it was just kind of like, all right, that kind of works.
When I saw it today, I thought it was a great outfit, so I really
Thanks,
appreciate it. Really think it's awesome. I usually try to ask you a question, and I want to stick with dress shirt conversations.
Yeah.
I have an idea where I'm going to go with this.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you what your favorite weave would be, but I feel like that wouldn't be the right way to go today. So I think today is I want to know, if you're stuck with a pattern, what is your go-to, like, you feel most confident in that pattern? So we talked about some Tattersalls and all these things. What's your most comfortable?
I thought it was going to be a harder question than this, but I know for sure what my favorite pattern dress shirt is a Bengal stripe dress shirt.
Oh,
I have 4 of them.
Okay.
I have 4 Bengal stripe dress shirts. I have like a regular button-down collar Bengal stripe. It's super traditional, very preppy. And then I have one that is actually a same color family, but the stripe is a little bit wider, but it's a French cuff with a tab collar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then I have one that is a spread collar with a mitered cuff, which
I prefer.
Yeah.
Love the mitered cuff.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I was button downs for a while, then I was like point collar, tab collar for a long time, and now I'm kind of swinging back towards spread collar.
Sure.
So, but yeah, Bengal stripe. I love a Bengal stripe.
Bengal stripe.
I like the vertical stripes. Kind of makes me look a little bit taller and try to make me look a little bit leaner,
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, I love a good Bengal.
Body type.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna have an episode on that coming up soon, honestly. So that's really all I have for the day. I'll let you do our obligatory information to send us out of here.
All right.
I don't want to have to do it, folks. I'm going to let him do that.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this new episode of Style Sessions. My name is Aaron Selberg. That is Jeremy Reed. If you have any questions, you want to reach out to us, it's peoria@thatguysecret.com. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All the social medias are all linked down in the description for both locations. If you want to tag us on Instagram, it's @thatguysecret, or it's #thatguysecret.